Hey, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some observations that I've made. First off, there's a YouTube channel called Charlie Bow 313. Shout out to him, I guess, although he doesn't really need it. Um, this guy, he just goes around driving around ghettos around America and recording, and that's all it is. Um, now there are similarities between all the worst ghettos that he drives through, and I'd like to make the observation about those similarities right now. First off, all the most crime-ridden ghettos that he drives through are all have the same features, right? They have small houses, which are very tightly packed. They're very close together. The streets are narrow, um, and there's a lot of abandoned houses in these areas as well. Um, there's people out at all hours of the day and night in the streets. No matter where you go, there's people outside. I mean, there's areas where there's no people for a while, but there's always someone outside at some point in time. During the night, during the day, there's people standing on the sidewalks or in the streets, just hanging out. And this is not judgment, this is observation. My main concern is with those tightly packed small houses, because if anyone knows about the Mouse Utopia experiment, you know that I'm trying to make a point about that. The Mouse Utopia experiment basically came to the conclusion that mammals will tend towards social groupings uh, that are far away, that in centralized areas, really, and that this sort of tight knit sort of community is creates problems, really. Allegedly, there was a follow-up study that showed mutations in the genomes of the mice that were in the experiment. I haven't seen anything about this. I haven't bothered looking into it, but those mutations could be caused epigenetically, so the original experiment is going to be more of my focus anyway. What they found was that basically modern day America formed in these mouse habitats. Um, Now, when you look at these ghettos, they all have the same features. Uh, they all seem to go along with the Mouse Utopia experiment, proving that the Mouse Utopia experiment is a perfectly valid uh, critique, not critique, perfectly valid analog to human nature. These crime-ridden ghettos all have tightly packed small houses, and people are desperate to avoid being inside. They collect in the streets. They collect outside. Um, and this seems to be part of why the behavior the that causes the culture of hyperviolence in the ghettos seems to be arising, or at least part of it. Humans are much more complex than mice and rats, but this certainly seems to be a factor. I will leave links to the Mouse Utopia experiment and Charlie Bow's channel in the description. I'm just going to leave the observations here for anyone who wants to use them. Thanks for watching. Peace.